Most people think the difference between average and greatness is talent. It's not. The real difference is a decision. A quiet one. A decision nobody applauds. A decision nobody sees before the championships, before the fame, before the crowds chanting his name. There was a moment when Kobe Bryant decided something most people never do. He decided that comfort was the enemy. Not excuses, not opponents, not injuries. Comfort. Because comfort tells you to sleep in. Comfort tells you tomorrow is fine. Comfort tells you everyone else is doing the same thing, so you're okay. But Kobe didn't want to be okay. He wanted to be undeniable. And that starts with a question most people avoid asking themselves. How badly do you really want it? Not what you say you want. Not what you post about. Not what you tell people at work or school. But what you're willing to do when nobody is watching. When the gym is empty. When the city is quiet. When the world is asleep. See, Kobe understood something early. Life doesn't reward intention, it rewards commitment. You don't get credit for potential. You don't get trophies for motivation. You don't get respect for talent alone. You get results for repetition, for doing the boring work, the lonely work, the uncomfortable work, over and over again. Most people wait to feel ready. Kobe trained to become ready. Most people wait for confidence. Kobe built confidence through action. Most people wake up asking, "What do I feel like doing today?" Kobe woke up asking, "What does greatness require from me today?" And sometimes, the answer was brutal. It meant waking up when everyone else was asleep. See, it meant training when nobody cared. It meant pushing his body when his mind begged him to stop. Not because it felt good, but because it mattered. Kobe didn't fall in love with basketball because it was easy. He fell in love with it because it demanded everything. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you only work when you feel good, if you only train when you're motivated, if you only push when it's convenient, you're not chasing greatness. You're chasing comfort. Kobe never chased comfort. He chased mastery. He chased the version of himself that most people are too afraid to meet. The version that shows up early. The version that stays late. The version that does the work even when the results are invisible. Because he knew something most people don't realize until it's too late. Your future is built in the hours nobody sees. And while the world was asleep, Kobe was awake. Training, sweating, failing, repeating, not for applause, not for validation, but because discipline was his advantage. And that's where the real story begins. Here's what most people don't want to admit. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. It depends on mood, on sleep, on weather, on praise. Kobe never trusted motivation. He trusted discipline. Because discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what needs to be done. While most people were waiting to feel inspired, Kobe Bryant was already on the court. Alone. Lights barely on. Shoes squeaking in an empty gym. Ball bouncing in silence. No cameras. No crowd. No noise. Just work. And this is where people misunderstand him. They think he trained early to be different. They think he did it for some legendary image. That's not why. He trained early because time compounds. Every extra hour he put in while others slept created separation. Not overnight, not in a week, but over years. While others trained once a day, Kobe trained twice. While others rested, Kobe refined. While others talked about balance, Kobe built an edge. And here's the part that hurts to hear. He wasn't always more talented. He wasn't always stronger. He wasn't always faster. but he was always more prepared. Preparation creates confidence. Confidence kills doubt. Most people crumble under pressure because they haven't earned belief in themselves. Kobe earned it. Shot by shot. Rep by rep. Morning by morning. He didn't skip days because he was tired. He trained because he was tired. Because fatigue exposes weakness, and weakness is information. Every missed shot wasn't failure. It was data. Every bad workout wasn't a setback. It was feedback. Most people avoid discomfort. Kobe studied it because he understood something simple. If you can dominate yourself, no opponent can dominate you. That's why excuses never lived in his vocabulary. Not, "I didn't feel like it." Not, "I'll do it tomorrow." Not, "I'm not an early person." Those are comfort phrases, and comfort never built a champion. Kobe didn't wake up early because he loved mornings. He woke up early because someone else wouldn't, and that gave him leverage. While others were negotiating with their alarm clocks, Kobe was already working on his second weakness of the day. And slowly, quietly, relentlessly, that gap widened. Not just in basketball, but in mindset. He became dangerous because he became predictable to himself. He knew he would show up. He knew he would work. He knew he would finish. And that certainty is rare. Most people live in negotiation with themselves. Kobe lived in command. And here's the question you can't avoid now. What would happen if you stopped waiting to feel ready and started acting like the person you say you want to become? Because greatness doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself later. In results, in moments, in legacy. And it all starts the same way. Early, alone, unseen. That's where Kobe built it. There's a side of greatness people love to celebrate, and a side they quietly judge. They cheer the trophies. They repost the highlights. They admire the results, but they criticize the obsession. They say things like, "Why does he train so much? Why doesn't he relax? Why is he so intense?" What they're really saying is this: why are you willing to sacrifice things I'm not? Because sacrifice makes people uncomfortable. It exposes the gap between who they are and who they claim they want to be. Kobe Bryant understood that early. If you want what most people will never have, you have to live in a way most people won't accept. That means being misunderstood. It means people thinking you're crazy. It means hearing you're doing too much. It means missing parties, missing sleep, missing comfort, and choosing the work anyway. Kobe wasn't obsessed because he hated life. He was obsessed because he respected it. He knew time was limited. He knew opportunities don't wait. He knew talent expires if it isn't sharpened. Most people want balance. Kobe wanted alignment. Alignment between his goals and his actions. Between his words and his habits. Between who he said he was and how he lived. And that alignment comes at a price. Loneliness. Because when you're training at hours no one else is awake, you start walking a path most people can't follow. Not because they're weak, but because they're unwilling. Unwilling to be bored. Unwilling to be uncomfortable. Unwilling to be alone with their thoughts. Kobe didn't fear that silence. He used it. Because silence removes distraction. And distraction is where dreams go to die. When you strip everything away, the noise, the opinions, the expectations, all that's left is truth. How bad do you want it? And what are you willing to give up? Most people want the reward without the identity shift. They want the results, but not the routine. The legacy, but not the loneliness. Kobe accepted the trade. He chose long-term respect over short-term pleasure. He chose mastery over popularity. He chose discipline over approval. And yes, it cost him. It cost him comfort. It cost him relationships at times. It cost him being understood. But it gave him something most people never experience: peace. The peace of knowing he gave everything. The peace of knowing there were no shortcuts. The peace of knowing that when the lights came on, he had already done the work in the dark. That's why pressure never broke him. You can't break someone who's already pushed themselves further than anyone else ever asked them to go. Pressure reveals preparation, and Kobe was prepared. Not because he was fearless, but because he was willing to walk straight into fear and train anyway. People think confidence comes first. It doesn't. Confidence comes after the work, before the lights, before the praise, before the belief. Even Kobe Bryant had doubt. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. The difference is not that he didn't feel it. The difference is he didn't obey it. Most people hear doubt and stop. Kobe heard doubt and trained harder. Because doubt is loud when preparation is quiet. And when you're honest with yourself, you know the feeling. That voice that says, "What if you're not good enough? What if you fail? What if they were right about you?" Most people try to silence that voice with comfort, distraction, entertainment, excuses. Kobe silenced it with proof. Proof built at 4 a.m., proof built in empty gyms, proof built when no one was watching, shot after shot, drill after drill, mistake after mistake. He didn't train to look good. He trained to remove uncertainty. Because when you've done the work, fear loses its leverage. You stop asking, "What if?" and start saying, "I've been here before." That's why he didn't panic in big moments. That's why pressure didn't shake him. Pressure didn't introduce fear. It exposed whether fear had already been dealt with, and Kobe dealt with it early. While others avoided their weaknesses, he attacked his. Bad left hand? He worked on it. Missed shots? He studied them. Bad games? He reviewed them. No hiding, no denial, just responsibility. Most people protect their ego. Kobe sacrificed his ego to build his game. And that's a painful process. Because growth requires admitting you're not enough yet. Not blaming coaches, not blaming teammates, not blaming circumstances, just ownership. And ownership is heavy. It means you don't get to complain. It means you don't get to feel sorry for yourself. It means the mirror becomes your hardest opponent. Kobe looked into that mirror every day. Not to criticize himself, but to confront himself. And here's the truth that separates legends from everyone else. Fear doesn't disappear when you succeed. It disappears when you prepare. That's why he didn't chase confidence. He chased competence. Because competence is earned, and earned confidence doesn't collapse. And maybe that's the lesson you're avoiding. Not that you need more motivation, not that you need more talent, but that you need to put yourself in positions where doubt has no evidence to stand on. Because when you've trained in the dark long enough, the light doesn't scare you. Greatness isn't an event. It's a standard. And once you set a standard, you don't get to lower it on hard days. That's what Kobe Bryant understood better than most. He didn't train early to be admired. He trained early because that was the line between who he was and who he refused to become. Because the fastest way to lose respect for yourself is to break promises you made in private. Kobe didn't negotiate with his standards. He lived by them. When he said he would work, he worked. When he said he would improve, he improved. When he said he would show up, he showed up. Not because someone was watching, but because he was. That's why his work ethic translated beyond basketball. Because discipline isn't sport-specific, it's identity-specific. You don't turn it on when it's game time. You become the kind of person who's always ready. And that's the real legacy. Not the points, not the rings, not the highlights, but the mindset. The refusal to cut corners. The refusal to live below your potential. The refusal to let comfort decide your future. Kobe didn't chase validation. He chased alignment. Alignment between his goals and his actions, between his dreams and his daily behavior. And here's the part that applies to you, whether you play basketball or not. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. to be Kobe. But you do need to stop lying to yourself. Stop saying you want more while doing what's required for less. Stop waiting for the perfect moment while letting average days stack up into average years. The world doesn't owe you belief. You earn belief by how you live when no one is watching. That's why Kobe trained when everyone else slept. Because while they were resting on potential, he was building proof. Proof that he could rely on himself. Proof that pressure wouldn't break him. Proof that when the moment came, he would be ready. And when it was all said and done, he could live with the result. No regrets, no excuses, no what-ifs. Just the quiet confidence of someone who gave everything. So the question is simple now. What is your standard? And will you honor it, even when it's uncomfortable? Because that's where the difference is made. In the hours nobody sees. In the work nobody applauds. In the discipline that no one can take from you. That's why Kobe trained when everyone else slept.